But as we said, the problem really is that Wisla get the opportunity to start here on the CT side with it being Finest's map choice. If they can get this early pistol round and just get going with a strong CT side, then I think Finest could really struggle. But it is Inferno at the end of the day, so you do expect this T side to have a pretty good time.
Absolutely. We head into the pistol, of course, with quite wide eyes. We're sort of assuming the worst may be to come from maybe the start here for the CTs. I mean, we'd hope for it, at least heading on to sort of overpass later down the line in this best of three. Finest going to be chucking all sorts of utility. The short pop is in, the moto smoke, the molly as well. USP, nice shot from Goofy. Needs to get some distance though with this USP that he's trying to create. But Kree has to hunt him down before any more damage can be done. Mar could be jumping across the site, slapping the bomb down in towards the cubby corner, get it down for the pit position. And now it's just all about the retake, the 4-on-4, no kit for the CT side.
Yeah, that's going to definitely complicate the retake. They don't really have a lot of time to work with. If PHR gets this quick kill though on Robin, then that should kick things off. And no, it looked like it was set up for free nearly. Robin manages to catch the flick up. That's going to be a man advantage now for the T's to work with, holding down this bomb with the time very quickly ticking in their favor. And the initial 2 kills as well picked up, but it somehow turned around for a couple of seconds as a small bit of hope had been given back to the Wisla players on the retake before it's very quickly snatched away by Mar and Co, who eventually do lock it down and put Finest over the line there on that pistol round. To kick things off in a way that they very much needed to, but they're still going to have to overcome a force buy that we're seeing immediately being pulled out by Wisla, and we've seen them obviously struggle with that a bit in the previous map rather, when they fell to the force buy second time around.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on in that round. It's hard to quite break down, isn't it? Like, I felt like Wisla should have had them on the retake, but Finest come out on top. They look really good, may I say, just sort of in general as a team. Man, it does get interesting later on, of course, because we head into the second round. Was a little bit of a tech pause. We are over it now, but point being is that Wisla aren't shying away from a buy here. They really aren't shying away from an opportunity to go, do you know what? We're going to invest whatever resources we can. We're going to give it our best crack to see what's going on. And then they'll go from there. Finest, yes, they win the pistol, but the second hurdle is the force buy. Can they get it done here as well?
They've actually gone a bit heavy on the SMGs. I think I would have rather have seen maybe 2 of them get an extra Galil in there, or maybe even a second AK on towards Kreese, just for a bit of security in terms of having those better weapons. But I think it's on a map like Inferno, if there is any map where you can get away with this many SMGs, it probably would be here. But that nade, that's not going to make things easier. Kreese gets brought down to 31 health already. He will be one of the Mach 10 players at least, so it's not going to be too big of a deal now that he's rocking the SMG. But it's not ideal for sure. It gives those pistols a bit of a chance. It lets the MP9 have an opportunity, and of course the Scout as well that Sparrow's rocking. The problem being, though, that they're currently making the gamble to send the 4th player actually over towards that A bomb site, and it does seem like Team Finest for now have most of their focus on Banana. There's still a lot of time, so they're not fully committed. They could easily go back and up mid, but it seems like with the 5th player joining up now that this B site is likely going to be where the commitment comes in, and it's PHR all alone. Good smoke, though, at least.
At least. We are...
a few seconds.
Yeah, exactly. We are just biting the time, waiting for the opportunity for Finest to strike PHR. He'll be the man to deliver first. No way does he find a second. The damage, I mean, tickles through onto the bar of Robin. Nothing too much past it, though. Mar going to be trying to punch in the digits here. Setting the bomb down. Jedka really giving it some welly through the smoke. The spam ineffective. So now just patiently waiting for their opportunity to strike on the retake, but it's been fizzled out quite quickly here. The Deagles, whatever it was, the investment for Wisla, really not working out for them. They're going to move away to save. And while there, it should be, and I say should, yeah, it definitely is now going to be a second on the board for Finest.
Yeah, they're hoping to save the Scout and the Deeg. We can see Anarquez is on his way. He already realized they have that second round confirmed, as you were saying, so he just wants to see what he can find now off the back of the Mach 10. Has 1 kill so far. I mean, there's not enough kills to go around, I think, for everyone to make their money back on the SMGs, unfortunately, which is why I said I prefer maybe just the 2, usually, max. And he's actually not going to push in any further to get that kill itself now that they're over towards Library, eventually completely clearing out the pit, but they weren't there, of course, so both weapons being carried over. They'll have a chance now to maybe just stack up towards one of the bomb sites. I'd imagine that that's going to be the play. I don't think I'd like to see them just splitting up and playing a kind of standard, which is sometimes, unfortunately, what you do see. Well, yeah, 3 towards B.
Yeah, I was going to say, heading into this third round, you know, as you said, we could see something outrageous, could see something quite simplistic, and I don't know. I think, oh, the swing actually from Sparrow with the scout towards Banana hasn't quite found the mark. He sits and toasts himself in the Molotov in the meantime. Surprise, shocks. He's found his quick kill to Jedka, the overextension towards apartments, costing the Poles the early lead once again. The MAC-10 to double down, and Finest should be on for a third.
Yeah, I'm not seeing too much of a chance for struggle here. Maybe 1 or 2 kills even found if they can catch perhaps the stray player or freezing towards the spawn. That gets a potential weapon to steal away. I was going to say perhaps Marcos could have done something up in apps as well with his deagle, but unfortunately that one doesn't work out. And I think Kreese is just happy to go ahead and lock them in towards that B-bomb site pretty much for now, ensuring they can't come through the spawn. And making Sparrow make his way down Banana in the end to get away with that scout. And, well, he's been spotted, so they might actually chase him in towards the spawn as well, knowing he's pretty low on health. A chance for Kree is also to come in here and add a little bit more off the back of his MAC-10. So we're getting really clean anti-ecos here as well, you've got to say, or anti-force buys, I suppose, in the previous round's case. So it is allowing for a bit of economy to be built up. Kree, that almost got awkward, but he manages to deal with it in the end. All 5 players hang on. It's going to be a 3-0 start for Team Finest, exactly as we said they needed. Can they keep it up, though? Can they manage to get this open and gun round as well to really get momentum going in their favor?
Yeah, it's the question I'll definitely be asking. Can we see maybe a response from the Wisla Krakow side? That's the definite opportunistic approach they want to be taking. Flashbang's going to be tossed about. Kriaz dropping a smoke. AWP swings in, though, as it plumes, and Marcos very, very cheekily, he'll get himself a quick kill onto Kriaz in the meantime. PHR looking for the aggression towards Banana, and all of a sudden, I think they've got to slam on the brakes. They've got to go, do you know what? We're in a 4-on-5. We've got to make our numbers up somewhere else, and so the grouping towards middle continues.
Yeah, I mean, that brackets control is not going to be easy to get. You've got the almost crossfire. I mean, it's a potential play anyway. Goofy looked like he was more so looking to just hide in the corner and play off of the bait and switch pretty much. And, well, they've found out now that the push has definitely come in on mid. At least one player peeked through. I don't think they quite caught that Anarcas had already crept forward, rather, and with that manages to catch Marcos off guard. This might push them towards the A hit, but it seems like more so they want to use it as the initial fake. But I think the second kill now has pulled them back into the commitment, and Shocks, he completely opens up the bomb site. Flash over catches Yedker perfectly, and I don't think you'll see PHR and Sparrow looking to really move any further forward than where they currently are. Both of those M4s are going to be incredibly valuable in this next round. But we're getting the 4-0 from Team Finest. They get themselves the pistol, they get the open and gun round. They're fulfilling all of those win conditions that we said they needed.
So, 4-on-2, Finest take their tally to 4. I mean, if I'm honest with you, I expected maybe a lot of a closer round than what it has been here for Wisla as they sort of dwindle, the numbers fade away. Finest now up to 4. I mean, you'd be a little bit worried if you were the Poles right now, wouldn't you? The chance most definitely is there to just go, do you know what? Like, we're ready for it. We want to bounce back on the buy, and if I'm honest with you, they've done anything but that. They've put themselves on the chopping block. They found themselves just a tad bit of damage onto Kriaz, the only kill of the round for the CT side, and now back to square one, where you have to take a half buy around these save weapons. It's really not a pretty situation to be in at all if you're Wisla.
No, and they were trying some aggression as well in that previous one when they saved the scout and such over, so I think we'll probably see something similar with the M4s, but as you said, it's not looking too good for the Poles currently. Ironically, it's Team Finest on pole position. Oh, I like this, though. Boost above the smoke. It's actually going to be caught. I like the idea, but it just looks like right now Finest are completely tuned in. And Arquez, anyway, I think he's a little bit angry he didn't get a chance to get going too much with the op in that previous map. And he's like, do you know what? People won't expect it here on Inferno, so I'm just going to bring it up a notch. I'm going to absolutely destroy some people. And, well, at least in the early days, it's pretty equal across the board on the fragging for Team Finest, which is what you want. But you can see he looks pretty damn confident with that weapon here. Looking for consistent openings pretty much across the map. He's now moved it back to be the man leading the way towards B as well. But they won't have to do much because the bomb site's completely open. It is that gamble stack as we see from Wisla.
I mean, understandable. You're in a 5-on-4, 4-on-5, and you're sort of on a half buy. So very understandable that they go for a bit of a stack. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out. Ooh. Interesting smoke placement, the block from the teammate, everything like that. Flashes are in. They're slowly making their way forward. When does the penny drop and they realise, oh, hold on a minute, they really aren't here. Should be any moment now. Shocks, he's going to swing. Now, no, though, the M4 of PHR's there. I think this is just going to be as simple as anything. Get the bomb across, get it set down, and anticipate for them to go for it. Because, of course, it's the force buy. Sort of the full buy happening in the next round. You've got nothing to lose heading into this one.
I mean, I'd maybe say save it just for the sake of potentially dropping over the off and saving a bit of money and such.
True.
But I don't know. I was going to say maybe they could have gone for it as well. I would say 100% if they had a kit. I'm kind of surprised that they didn't buy one in, considering they're working with the loss bonus. I thought that would have been something they potentially picked up, at least on towards one of the players who saved the M4s. PHR definitely could have. I think he had 2,900 coming into the round. But I think they're happy enough with 3 rifles. The problem is it means they can cede the 5-0 over towards Team Finest, who are looking really a million times better here so far than what we got out of them on Ancient. This was kind of we got a brief glimpse of this in the early stages when they got that streak of 4 rounds. It was once Wisla got back on the rifles then that they really struggled. So I'm still going to be somewhat worried that once Wisla get going, maybe things can turn around, which obviously wouldn't be ideal for Team Finest, but it's getting to a position where the rounds are getting somewhat out of control, so it might not even matter for Wisla, because they're going to need an incredible CT side from here on out if they want to recover it.
Heading into round 6. It is 5-0 Finest. A full buy. As you mentioned, the save, the opportunity for the AWP was there, but they didn't take it. The nades, however, towards Banana are the list for both sides, in fact. PHR catching the overextension of Robin, now tossing his grenade down, has done a little bit of tag damage to Kriaz, but nothing too substantial to create much of a difference. Smoke dropped on top of the molly. PHR now looking to retain that control. Got to be careful, and Arquez is scoped in on that angle, so as soon as this smoke starts to fade, he's got to get the hell out. But PHR might just be overstaying his welcome. Grenade goes in deep. Little bit of damage done to the AWP. Other than that, though, Wisla playing with fire, considering they're in a 5-on-4.
Yeah, not too necessary for the risks to be taken, but I think it's because of the lack of nades that they wanted to at least get some info to work with before setting themselves up into whatever setup they choose. And, well, for now, I don't think they're going to be given much of an option. They've got the 2 players over on B being kept busy by what is the brunt of the push, or the brunt of the forces, rather. But they have been slowed by that smoke, so they're not going to be fully in on the commitment quite yet, and there's only 40 seconds remaining, so this could get pretty dangerous. Fortunately for Finest, none of those A players have budged into the rotation yet, or shall I now say unfortunately, because they're going to start running the bomb back up mid-retro.
Yeah, and surprise, the double stacks here, man.
Marcos, he's
really
gone.
Got to be careful.
Nade over. Wow. That's not making it easy for Yedker. A little bit of a spam as well onto the bomb site, but it's a great crossfire as Yedker sprays down 2. Sorry, it was actually Goofy who got the double for himself. But Yedker was good for the 1, and he acted as a massive source of distraction, basically, right there. As you see them all spinning back around, thinking they could maybe leave Goofy for a moment to get the trade on the pit player, but no, he swung wide himself as well. And, well, Wisla, we're going to welcome them to the scoreboard, rather, after what was a pretty rough start into the round as well. Obviously, they got the initial opening, but they had taken quite a bit of damage finding it. So managing to shut that one down clean enough there without having too much utility to do it as well was a massive find to keep their guns in play and to ensure that the buy right now is strong.
Heading into round 7, we finally see some Wisla success. Can it be more pertinent, though? A more... I don't know, a better read into this one. I'm trying to understand, can they make this more than just the 1 round? A more permanent means of success. And, well, so far so good. A 5-on-3, some tag damage done left, right, and center. Nice shot from Mart. Wondering if anything else will happen past this, though. The grenades are just stacked in towards the middle, and the bars left remaining on the Finest players really aren't looking too fond.
Both players on the brink of death here as well. Not making things any easier for them, although Marcos is on the op, so I was going to say a missed shot could still cost him his life either way, but no, despite being blinded, he gets the timing perfectly on Mar, and he should be back in position as Robin comes through. A little bit quicker, though, is the Swede. Quick connection lands, but again, with 40 health, with the same amount of time in terms of seconds, I really do not fancy his chances being outnumbered 1-3, and I don't think he's going to be loving it either. Looks to back away in through apartments. And hopefully to save this up in towards the next round where they've still got good money. at least onto the majority of players. They could do with the drops being thrown over to both Shocks and an Arca, so I think Robin will be happy to go ahead and fulfill those orders as long as he has this op saved over.
As long as 1 on 3, 10 seconds to go. I mean, you're not going to see any heroics from Robin in this one. He understands. Just get it out. No need whatsoever. And there we have it. Wisla take 2. And this is where momentum starts to play a bit of a game because Finest, I mean, yeah, they've got money on Mar to get the drops. Yeah, Robin, you know, he's got money of his own as well to reinvest. But after this round, it's going to be very, very difficult to sort of dip your toes back into this one, isn't it? You've got the single up setup. You've got everyone investing. Only problem is, if Whistler win this round, of course, you're basically set back to square one, where maybe a half buy has to come out or a very, very weak full buy.
Yeah, that's not a position they can afford to be put into, and, well, Robin might not give them much of an option. He's already got the opening on Sparrow, who's been enjoying those banana peaks, you've got to say. I think tried to play around the smoke right there. I think that was put down perhaps even to stop the molly that would have initially been thrown up by Team Finest, most likely. He pays the price with his life. A good start for Team Finest. They look to even potentially slow it down for a moment, although they will very quickly throw those nades up Banana just to ensure that any sort of reclamation of control won't be there for Wisla, knowing that they'll very likely at least want a bit of info to work with. Instead, though, we're seeing a mad 3-man B-stack being called for, and they were considering that re-aggression for sure, but I think at this point they might want to slow things down. PHR, he's a madman. He was going forward with the nade in his hand, might just get away with it, and he does indeed. It's Jedgar instead who takes the damage in the end, but it does seem like eventually now this B commitment has begun to come true. Through the smoke as well from PHR, as that's in a very ambitious play, I've got to say. But they've still got 2 players around the bomb site in general. I was going to say potentially holding off to see if the retake's available, but Jedgar just kind of runs in like a madman as well, and I'm just not loving the team play that we're getting right now from Wisla.
So, bomb ticking away. And when we thought maybe Wisla had some opportunities, had stirred up a chance to get themselves on the board for the CT side for good, it's all been taken away and shut down by the Europeans of Finest. The bomb shall tick down to its eventual detonation. And Wisla, they are going to concede themselves a 6th round here of 8. It's worrying times here, Dean. I don't think, you know, we're really on the edge of our seats just yet. My question, of course, lies within the future of this roster, sort of like in this matchup. Are we going to see the aggressiveness brought forward once again? We've already got the AWP in this one. M4's coming forward as well. I think this round is it for me. If they can win this one, there's a chance.
Yeah, I mean, if you let this one go, though, rather, it's going to be 7, probably even 8 then off the back of it for Finest, and they've already got themselves a tremendous T side, so then it really gets difficult to get a strong CT showing. You'll just be trying to really salvage it out, and I don't think that's a position that they want to be in. We do know Wisla, though, are able to give pretty strong T sides of their own, so I definitely won't be completely counting them out. That's never something really that can be done, and having a look, I believe their T-side is relatively strong. It's actually not that great. They only tend to win 45% or so of their rounds, so that's a little bit worrying now that I've looked at it. Definitely makes me want to see them pick it up massively now, and ideally even aim towards 9. That's going to be a big, tall ask of them. We'll see. It's a little bit slower right now from Finest. They've already got themselves this banana control. It does seem like B will be the eventual endpoint, but they've still got a ridiculous amount of time, so I think they're just probing everywhere, hoping to try and bait out some of these B players and see if anyone will give them an opportunity, and PHR has been spotted. The shot, though, doesn't land.
Gotta hit those, 70 Dean, in these situations as well, with 55 seconds. Smoke going to be dropped in, cover that cross. In the meantime, Marcos misses the shot of his own, so now, where it gets a little bit worrying, maybe, that Wisla, they are now having a chance to succeed. 40 seconds to go. Finest still not assuming that mid-control. They're leaving it very last minute. And Wisla understand the task. It isn't about holding on to the mid position. It isn't about making sure they don't get out and flank long. It's simply to hold down the sights. However, Jedka, he goes way too aggressive. And it costs him his life. 5 on 4, 20 seconds to go. 1 in pit, 1 on site. The crossfire set. They've just got to deny the bomb.
Goofy in a strong position here, playing that headshot angle under the Falcon. He has, of course, this teammate watching the short push, but the molly makes it quite difficult for him to actually spot the push. And with that, Shox is able to deal with the crossfire, just charges his way in between it. PHR at least given one back, evens the numbers on this retake. They've got to be careful. They've only got the one kit on PHR as he goes down now on short. Sparrow has a very difficult retake to work with and a fantastically timed flash over. It does catch an Arquez as well, but it doesn't really seem to matter. He manages to pick up the kill either way while blinded, while his opponent is blinded as well. And well, we've got 7-2 now on the scoreboard for Team Finest. This is getting ridiculously out of control. It looks like Overpass may be coming true after all. I said I'd like to see it. I wasn't too optimistic about us getting there, but with the performance we're getting right now from Team Finest, it's almost looking like a certainty.
Nades drop forward, Marcos. Eating a fair chunk of damage from the HE early doors. PHR, in the meantime, going to try and give some back, and well, his nade apparently... Oh, okay. I was going to say his nades trumped everything until the one tap from Kriaz, the peak in middle. Wishes the AWP a good night in on the mid spot. Now in a 4-on-5. Wisla once again working on the back foot.
Ooh, nice shot by an Arquez. The flashes don't really seem to hold him back, do they? A good entry on the B. I don't know if they want to commit with this though, because it's already pulled the second player back over there with Sparrow, and they've made it pretty known, I think, with that smoke now being thrown down. So yeah, you see instantly Team Finest are like, oh, that was a smoke from the spawn. There's one on site as well. Let's run this back to A quickly. It should be just one alone. You can see they are being slightly hesitant though on the push, just not wanting to overextend in case that one player was slightly more aggressive. But they have some nades, so this is going to be troublesome for Yedker rather. Decides to swing wide. He's already got himself a second and actually handles that just about as well as he could have. But unfortunately, I don't know if 2 will be even enough in this case. You've got the quick flank coming in, but Anarka is already posted up watching for it. Shouldn't really be letting too much happen here. Sparrow and Goofy have a very difficult retake now at hand, and, well, a good start at least from Sparrow.
2-on-2. Only just evening up the numbers, and not to forget that the utility from Wisla next to nothing. So it's just the gunfights, the raw angels that have to work out. And I mean, a good start. Kriaz is pinned down. Goofy, he's done some serious damage to, of course, the remaining 2 players. And well, there you have it. Kriaz and Anarquez caught absolutely lacking. Bomb shall be defused. Wisla up to 3, but once again, a close round, Dean. A lot closer than maybe it should have been.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't made easy. When you've not got the economy really going on this CT side, you need to be taking them a little bit cleaner, as we had seen when they picked up their previous one. They were able to at least come back in and ensure they had everything with a little bit of money left over. This time, getting their rifles and getting their nades and such behind, it costs them every single cent. But one positive is they're actually going to be rocking a double op setup. We'll see how that actually changes things up as we see more aggression from Marcos. Deciding to see if that would perhaps catch Finest off guard. It doesn't quite work out that way though, as they get pre-fired instead from second mid. But there is a return of fire there from Sparrow being able to catch an Arquez who slightly overextends then in towards B, I've got to say. They had the advantage, probably could have decided to slow things down a small bit. Maybe that's something that needs to be adjusted. Know when to kind of just sit on your advantages. Oh, did he spot that?
Seems like it. Well, he does seem it.
I don't think he quite noticed he was just completely up on top of the coffins, though.
Maybe not. Not too sure. It's the power of X-ray, isn't it, Dean? We're sitting at home like, oh, just shoot him, just shoot him. But obviously the players don't exactly have the wonders of being able to see people through smokes. So heading into this execute, though, all eyes set on Finest. That molly going to give such a huge delay. Look, I mean, they've already bought, what, 10 seconds of the 40-second clock. The nade drops in. PHR, he's going to be caught out. Pretty poor positioning. Not exactly going to be able to put much of a fight up. Sparrow thinking about maybe going aggressive for the plant. Smart decision not to, because, of course, teammate of Kriaz patiently waiting. Jumps on up. Nice shot from Sparrow. Quick flick. Puts things to a 3-on-3.
Yeah, his teammates need to get a bit of a move on, though. He can't be the one moving in initially here with the op in towards what would basically be the crossfire of Shox and the man in dark as well. Well, speaking of Shox, he's going to have to be the first man to hold it down here, too. Moving in from the spawn, the transfer from Yedker, as he's left completely alone. This will be the 1v3 if he makes it happen. Mardo going to push through as the bomb is just being stuck, and he manages to find it in time. Pros don't fake in the case of Yedker. He kind of knew at that point that if he wanted to win it, it was the only way to make it happen. So he tried his best, but unfortunately it doesn't work out. And despite it being a close round and Team Finest only winning out with 1 player, they'll be more than happy because it has completely ruined the economy of Wisla and completely ruined their chances of pulling this back into a strong CT side.
Well, round 12, Finest up to 8. And if I'm honest with you, Dean, I think we expected things to be quite a quick breeze of a 2-0 after watching Map 1's performance. And now it looks anything but that, doesn't it, heading into sort of the latter part of the first half here of this second map. Of course, picked by Finest, as you can see, just underneath the map. But I don't think either of us expected it to look like this. And I mean, that shot is just an Arquez all over. Deagler PHR now to try and hold on. Yes, he's done some tag damage, but he's caught out. He now has to go aggressive. Kree has to find the kill. 5 on 3, Finest. They are just continuing to rack up the points.
Yeah, I mean, having a look, Finest, they're very, very slightly more efficient on their T side, winning just slightly less than 51% of their rounds. So it's a very, very fine margin. So it's definitely worrying because it looks like they should be able to give us just equally as good of a CT side. And unless Wisla are able to come through with a T side that doesn't normally be there for them, they actually have their CT side skewing quite biased for them. That's where they tend to pick up the majority of their rounds, more in the 55% or so. So it's a little bit worrying for sure. But you never truly know. That's what we love about CS, an early pistol round, a good run off of the first gun round as we've seen from Team Finest, and things can just very quickly flip on their head. So there's nothing to say that Wisla can't do something similar moving on to their T side, and nothing to say that they can't still pick up another couple rounds here on their CT as well. Desperately going to be looking for the remaining 3. I don't think you want to let Team Finest anywhere near double digits at this point.
Absolutely. Bomb's going to detonate. Finest up to 9. And it's horrible to think that the best case scenario for the Wisla side now is 6 rounds on the CT side. And a pause coming in. You can only assume it's going to be a Wisla attack. I mean, you'd hope at least it is here, Dean, because seems to be any momentum they'd gained through map 1 has quite quickly fizzled out here on the second.
Yeah, somewhat surprisingly. I mean, you had PHR and Goofy looking like monsters in that previous map. Sparrow had a few moments as well. They kind of just all did. On the other hand, it's everyone's been missing somewhat. There's been a couple rounds where they've all got their couple kills or whatever, but no one's been a standout like they were, just kind of single-handedly taking over rounds in that previous map. Instead, we've been getting that from Finest, and we've also just been getting kind of a very solid team effort in general. As I said, it can be hard to get that up going somewhat on the T side, and Arquez, though, he's been doing a pretty good job at the entries. There was the one round where he kind of gave away the opening after they had already got a 5-on-4 elsewhere, but I mean, that's a stage, I think, where he just kind of had it in his mind that he was looking for the opening, the kill came in, and he didn't want to hop off the angle, and ended up losing his life, so it was somewhat unfortunate, I believe. Yeah, there's a chance here for Wisla now to get back to life, but this buy is quite a bit more limited than what they even had in that previous gun round, so it's not a fantastic start to the round. They've already used up a decent chunk of that utility. Sparrow has found some more, though, I believe. Oh, fantastic damage.
So much, and you think it's the A1S, right? Tracers don't show through that smoke. They have no clue what's going on. The AWPer goes aggressive. Goofy finds another through the smoke, and Wisla start to have bullets going in the right places at the right times. All the kills so far have been in around the smokes. PHR making pace towards short. Kriaz not expecting the fast flank shots. 1 on 5. And back to maybe the dominating fashion we expected from Wisla early on in this matchup. It's going to be a 4th on the board. Finest, yes, they find a bomb plant, but they only got 1 kill to accompany it. And so the Poles, they take 4, 5 behind Finest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit weird that the one where they're severely lacking nades is the one where they're able to make it look incredibly convincing. Maybe it's because they took a few more risks to actually take some of those fights in the early stages as the pushes were coming in. But, I mean, I don't think that's really been the issue prior. They were willing to fight it normally, and it just wasn't really working out. They were being out-aimed by the very capable players, of course, on Team Finest, which was something we said going even into the first map. Even though we mentioned Wisla were our favourites to win the series, we said with players like what Team Finest have, they can step up, pop off, and just win a map at any point. No. That's not going to help, though. Free's getting stabbed in the booty.
Love to see it. Well, you don't love to see it, but you know what it is? It's like these guys playing like FPL, FPLC, like whatever it is, and
yeah,
you know, like you just have fun on Face It, stab each other in the back, and nothing happens, and you come into an official, and there you go, you've just stabbed your teammate in the back. Fortunate that it was a left click and not a right, but as you touched on, these HEs, man, they've done wonders in the HP department here. Finest have 2 players sitting at 11 points of health. Couldn't tell you the last time I've seen that one happen, Dean. You know, where 2 players identical in the HP because of the grenades. Shocks, however, he's the man to find the first kill. So a 5 on 4 in favour of Finest, but the HP still tipping in the direction of the Poles. And, well, the peek in. We need to see more from PHR. That he goes 4 on 2.
Still the op up closer on short, but Marcos needs to be very careful of the boiler lurk, as Mar had just tucked himself in for quite a while there. Patience being shown, and well, it did pay off for him in the end. Sparrow looks like he still wants to move over for this one. I was going to say this AK could be pretty valuable moving into the final round of the half, but it doesn't seem like he's too set in stone about saving it. Wants a little bit of a fight here, or at least is holding off for a couple of exit frags. Somewhat surprised by this. Obviously, Goofy's only on 1,000. Yedker not looking too good either in terms of the money. But the problem now is Finest have already got themselves up to double digits, and with what is probably going to be a limited buy here in the last round from Wisla as well, their chances for 11 are incredibly high. It looks like we could see an even more one-sided map here before heading on towards Overpass, where you'd suddenly say Finest have a real good chance of potentially taking this series after looking a little bit down and out after how Ancient went for them.
Still the opportunity for a 10-5. I mean, very, very slim opportunity, but there is one. So heading into the last of the half, Wisla on a full buy. Whatever they can pick up here, they're going to need. Utility looking quite good. Finest, I mean, yeah, this is what you expect, dominating the first half. It is exactly how I had expected. Shots rattle off. Nothing found towards middle, though. They're just here to play the 5-on-5. Oh, wow.
Ouch. He's in a little bit of pain after that one. Brought down to 44 health. Direct impact on those nades. Sometimes you expect him to do perhaps even a little bit more. Marcos, though, he knows he has the player tucked in. Help being called for there from Shox as well, realizing he was in a bit of trouble. But an Arquez gets flicked to bits there while completely blinded as well. So that is a fantastic opening coming in from Marcos. And as you said, there is still perhaps that reality of a potential 5 rounds on the half, which would be certainly better than what they were facing a moment ago. Every little helps at this point, as one of those supermarket slogans go. You've got Robin and Kreese both tagged up as well. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where Robin was taken down, but obviously we know Kreese took that nade to the body earlier on. He has at least got the op now in play, but he's going to be challenging Marcos, who is posted up and ready on short right now.
Well, here we are. Utility on forward, and Wisla, they trump that of the rifles here of Finest. Jedka, he'll find another. Kriaz, 1-on-5. AWP will get beaten out. Wisla Krakow, 10-5 at the half. They're looking pretty promising. Finest in front, though. Can they take us to Overpass? We'll find out as we go to a break.
Keep you
We are back, and my big question is, are Wisla? Because they were gone missing a little bit in that first half, weren't they, Retro?
Yeah, definitely didn't look the part, did they? Not like what we saw on Ancient. Inferno, a different story. 10-5 at the half here, Dean. I'm quite concerned, if I'm honest with you. I think a 3-map are definitely on the cards after Ancient. I thought maybe it was just going to be a quick sweep to start the season here for the boys in red. But, however, we must go on, and Finest, they're looking quite good here as we head into the second half. They're 10-5 up on the CT side.
Yeah, they'll be hopping on that train to overpass. It has a bit of a function other than blocking nades. It actually brings in the players, you know, when they're moving over from a different map. Nah, I'm being silly now, but there's a good few nades actually being bought up here on the T side. Interesting to see what the approach is from Wisla. It looks like they'll be taking something a bit more tactical than what Finest's approach was, where they kind of just charged their way into a bomb site, and that was a long-range Glock kill there from Goofy. The tip of the head just about shown in the apps, and with that, the first blood in favour of the Poles, who desperately need it, and a second being found by PHR, but that might force them forward into what is a bit of a stack on this B bomb site with 2 players still set up in that crossfire.
So here we are, running straight into the site, go Wisla Krakow, and I said maybe the pistol was integral for the must-win. So far, so good. Problem is, haven't cleared out the site itself. Jedka able to find... looking for more on Arquez. He's closing in on the gap, and well, there you go, Wisla, by means of elimination, pick up the pistol. Not a bad start, but did get a bit dicey considering they didn't check out the site.
Yeah, I mean, you had the initial player forward on the corner. I think it was Shocks, maybe, who goes down pretty quickly. Obviously, if they hadn't lost this player over in apps, it would have been ideal. He was just looking for the info so they could potentially stick to that B stack, which they had. The hope then is that the player on the corner maybe could have found one, but at least if they hadn't lost the apps player, he goes down. You still have a couple of rotations coming in as well as the crossfire in the back. So the whole plan kind of just fell apart from the get-go right there for Team Finest, unfortunately. But they're going to try and strike back with an immediate force buy. If this doesn't work out though, Wisla, they should be able to get themselves up towards 8. If they get the opening gun round, then suddenly they can tie things up at 10-10, and you can really see the way back into the game for Wisla. So Finest will be looking to see what they can get done with the weaker buy here. Hopefully at least to make it costly, if not win it out.
5-on-5, still grand responsibilities in this round to just piece together something successful. We're hearing the clinking of the smokes. Usually afterward, that's it. The rush is in, and Arquez, great tag to Sparrow. He's shot down to 28 points of health, but it doesn't stop him from holding that W key. Flashbang goes forward. The stack on A. It's done wonders for Finest. It's 3 for 2. Jedka now looking for his way into the round. The MAC-10 finally peppering one down, but it's way too late. Finest have 2 players still on this site, and the gamble stack no more. As you can only assume at this point in time, he's going to fall to the eventual rifles. Shocks, they'll find the last, and that is that. What a round to lose.
Alright, I said they'd at least be looking for damage, but they'll happily take a round win and a couple of rifles even for free off the back of it. Only Galil's, but they know they're not going to be up against much now, because Wisla only get 1,400 coming into this round, which will only allow some deagles and a scout, and even then there's no helmets even to back them up, so those M4s, those Galils, the FAMAS and the SMG, they're all going to have a good time. We'll see whether it can at least be a fight back into it from Wisla here to get a few kills perhaps before they have to likely eco then and get their gun round. Obviously there's a chance they could win it out. But again, at least a few kills will be necessary to give them an opportunity to come alive in the following gun round. For now though, being completely denied any sort of banana control. Good nade usage from the CT side. They're going to go ahead and, I thought gamble it, which is one player playing for the info, but they've actually gone ahead and left Robin on the bomb site as well. I think feeling confident that up against this weaker buy, they can play the more standard 3-2 split rather. Again, I'm somewhat surprised that Mars is so aggressive on his own though.
Wisla still having a look for options. Flash is beautiful. Mar, a double with the MP9, didn't get shot. Well, unknowingly he got shot a couple of times, but still unconfirmed. Damage Kriaz tapping away in towards the boiler room, and it's just not going to happen here. Finest ensuring that Wisla Krakow crumble to the pressure. Smoke going to be dropped in towards deep long. Are they going to show aggression behind it? I mean, absolutely not. That smoke is awful. They have to expend a second one to even attempt it. Jedka, he'll find one. The spam from the Galil continues. A 4-on-3. They have retrieved one of those rifles, but Dean, the problem is still very much there, where we are going to need someone to step up here for the T side, and considering the armor and the util situation, likelihood is next to nothing.
Yeah, and just as you finish your sentence, they get boat mode down. Good little combo there from Shox and Arquez. Puts Team Finest up to 12, doubling the score of their opponents. And likely to extend it as well with this one being a fully go. I don't think we'll even see any pistols being upgraded. I'd be somewhat surprised if they do spend anything. One flash is a reasonable investment right there. That'll give them a chance to at least maybe catch someone off guard. Perhaps moving towards one of these bomb sites a little bit quicker. Or they might also hold it out and wait and see if the aggression comes in down Banana, as we have seen Team Finest being a little bit more aggressive around that area, at least kind of showing their aggression, if not even pushing down. We'll see what they want this time, and indeed, yeah, Mars actually going to go down rather. Good nade as well going in just as they jump through the smoke. Unfortunately, Mar gets blinded by the flash, but it doesn't really seem to matter in the long run. He will drop his SMG, but Robin cleans it up, ensures that all the rifles are going to be kept in play and that there's not too many casualties coming into what could be one of the last gun rounds now for Wisla as well.
Well, 13-6, the gap continues to be extended. Heading into round 20, Finest single up setup for Wisla. Their last stab at it, most probably. Well, utility just pouring over the... Look at Banana, look at the amount of blue you see. Sparrow, caught between a rock and a hard place, has to go aggressive through one molly. I think Mar just spots him out. The spam in, but Sparrow catches him right around the smoke, looking for a second as well. Mar to trade, but man, it got close there on Banana. That could have been the B site opened up completely.
Yeah, I'm somewhat surprised he can go down. Just a good return onto the Tracers. And Arquez is still here as well now, though, so Wisla taking things a little bit slower, unfortunately, has got rid of that opportunity for an easier B bomb site, but they might still be able to just brute force their way in. And PHR indeed picking up the double, but again, there's another man on the bomb site now in the form of Kreese, who is all alone. He's going to be left in the 1-on-4. He begun to rotate, thinking, okay, we'll stack up B, we'll put 3 players there, keep one on A, and before he even gets there, he's left alone. And well, they've made the correct decision as well to bring this back to A, where there's going to be a free bomb plant, and PHR continues to lurk here in a position that I don't think Kreese is going to be expecting at this point. So it should be a fairly easy finish here. Will he clear out the corner is the question. Very slowly inching forward, and no, he's just not expecting a free headshot for PHR, bringing him up to the hat-trick, a triple. And well, that's going to give Wisla their 7th round, but they need to ensure now that this one goes their way also. You can see the economy's a little bit awkward for Mar, but he should be just dropped over by Robin, and with that they'll have a really strong buy into this round, but they won't really have anything remaining, so this is a chance for Wisla to break them down.
This is a must-win, as you said, for Wisla, just as important as the previous, to break the economy and then starting getting your own momentum going. That's what they're looking for. Sparrow dropping the flashbang on his side of the Banana peak, just to ensure maybe the sandbag player not swinging in. That grenade, however, Sparrow, yeah, that's not too nice, is it? Just taking all that shrapnel to the kneecaps, basically took the impact completely. Don't know how he's walking after that one, to be honest, Dean. If it was any more realistic, I think he'd have said goodbye to his limbs.
We'll see. CSGO 2, perhaps. You'll have to crawl your way out of Banana.
It's like you're holding
it's a weird
shift
phrase.
the whole way.
It's just a whole weird sentence if you didn't have the context of CS. Crawl your way out of Banana.
True.
New sentences. Oh, Marcos, though, tries the peek in. He was already scoped as well. Wanted to take a quiet peek on that one. Mar doesn't, though. He makes all of the noise, just charging in with the flash. It didn't actually catch PHR, but he heard the footsteps, expected the flash, tried to play the anti-flash, and just got caught. So a 5-on-3 in favour of Team Finest as, well, Wisla's chance is slipping away from them.
Seconds passing. 5-on-3, as you mentioned, Wisla's only chance at the start of this round. This was a must-win for them, and Arquez, 1-for-1, isn't too grand. 2-on-3, still very doable here for the Wisla side. The spam continues to pop off. Kriaz in a bit of an off angle, but Sparrow's caught out one. A nice return and a second follow-up for the M4A4 of Kriaz. Keeps the dream alive for Finest to take us to 3. Man, oh man, was that close, but they just couldn't quite connect. And well, round 22. This is money. Just bottom of the barrel. They're scraping any buy they can here, Dean.
Yeah, you have to at this point. I mean, it's understandable to just want to keep the buys going. If they were to take the eco, they would have got something decent into this next one. But at that point, you're needing 8 rounds in a row in order to get the overtime. So what you've got here, try and again brute force the issue and hope to give yourself an opportunity here in regulation to get a bit going, at least before you give away the overtime points to Team Finest. We're seeing very aggressive though, aggressive peaks rather coming in over on Banana. Margan actually continued to fight after the first kill, only falling back now, and he does do a good bit of damage actually through that smoke as PHR was jumping through. So some good advantages again for Team Finest, but they're still not happy with it. Again, they just continue to aggress. It's very, very risky. And I think it's something that will be punished by teams a little bit more on form. You've got Wisla really struggling at the moment.
Well, 4 on 5, they're going to be trying to dip their toes back into this B site, whether they can or not, of course. The ultimate decision of, I would argue, this map in general. If they can, maybe, push themselves forward, then there's a chance. And with PHR and Jedka finding a killer pop, I think maybe, just maybe here, Dean, I live to tell the tale one more time. It should be 14-8, unless Kriaz and Shox can pull together a masterclass of a retake.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to get much of a chance even to move in for it, doesn't look like. Kreese is in towards tree currently, just chilling. Making sure it's well watered. Shox is on a little bit of a jog back towards the A-bomb site as well to save over his M4. It should be a kill at least for Kreese. Indeed. They will continue to exit towards Banana as well. I think they can just securely tuck in towards the sandbags though. But the nade, on the other hand, might actually cause a bit of an issue. No, not to finish down to 33 just for Yedker. It needed to be a direct impact pretty much, and even then I think it would have fell slightly short of getting the kill. But a 14-8 scoreline. The problem has been, though, chaining this together, finding the consistency. It just hasn't been there at all for Wisla throughout this map. Even in the few rounds they were finding on their CT side, they'd look fairly impressive, and then they'd just be gone, completely missing again on the following.
Super, super cause for concern, isn't it? When you talk about sort of the situation that we're in now, where it is do or die for Wisla. Got to pull together something, get something out of that hat, you know, really put together something special. And so far, I mean, the damage is there. This grenade, oh, yeah, that stings, doesn't it? And the Molly follow-up as well. MP9 in for a field day, Robin. Only good for one. Jedka pitching away one of the kills onto his own teammate. Goofy to close the gap in the meantime, but this HE has made all the difference.
Yeah, there is one more here as well that could potentially stop the bomb plant, but no, it falls short, lands in the smoke, and then the counter spam from Goofy actually opens things up to bring it back to a 3-on-3. So now the after plant is looking a little bit more doable for that for the T side rather. There's no kit either currently in the hands of anyone here on Team Finest, which is going to make the retake pretty difficult. They'll need to get an incredibly quick move on, and well, the nades are just not working out at the moment for Kreese. Smoke bounces back. The molly didn't manage to blow him either because it landed in the smoke earlier on. He's not having a great time. And I think at this stage, you may just want to consider saving the weaponry that you have to have a decent shot here in the following round, maybe to even do it again. And PHR, he's making it costly. Will lose his own gun on the escape, and honestly, I think at this stage, Team Finest are a little bit more willing to lose the weaponry, even if they can't get the buy here in this next round. They've definitely ensured that all of that money is being reinvested right now for Wisla.
Well, inching closer and closer to double digits here. We wrote them off. Maybe they're not writing themselves off just yet. Pause coming through. I can only assume it's going to be from the Finest side. A bit of a panic press of the pause. I think that 30-second breather is required, but I think it pays more favor for Wisla here, you know? They have a chance to think about what's going on. Man, it's difficult times for both, though. And as we head into round 24, all eyes, at least in my opinion, all eyes on Finest now. The struggle to close out this game is something that may come back to bite them. We'll have to wait and see as we kick things off here.
Yeah, I mean, they've still a bit of room to go, but I'd imagine the sweat's getting close to the starting right now at this point, as they might begin to worry if the next gun round especially doesn't go their way. Obviously, coming into this one with just an eco a little bit saved over, I think a few kills is something they'd be more than happy with, hoping then to be able to just capitalize on it in this next gun round, as we were saying. A little bit slower, though, it looks like, from the T side. Not really too much focus around Banana, just a bit of utility being thrown up initially, and Kreese is actually peeking that with the AK. So this could give them good information that there's currently no one moving in this direction. Potentially a stack then to be put over towards A. It does look like indeed they're going to begin to rotate over, being pretty certain that this is where the push is coming in, and they're making the correct call. We'll see though whether Shox and Co can get it done from the bomb site and from balcony to actually allow those rotations to get into position. And well, Mar with a USP actually finds himself some good damage with the help of Anarquez as well on that default pistol rather. And suddenly they've got rifle upgrades, a man advantage, and control of the bomb.
3 on 2. Finest somehow have brought back into this round very, very nicely. 50 seconds to go. Jedka and Marcos. They've got everything to do in this round. Absolutely everything to do. 40 seconds on the clock. Do they go back to B? That's what they're wondering. I mean, Marcos has made his way towards long. This is going to be my problem here. Are they going to go towards B? Or is this an A wrap? They are opting for the first of the two. Kriaz on the back of the site, though, Dean. This is my worry. Some serious, serious reliability that they've gamble stacked towards A, and they haven't.
No, there is Kreese with the AK ready right now. They don't clear out the back corner. Gets himself the first one with ease. It's a little bit more of a struggle against Jedker, but he does the damage, tucks in, wastes time, and eventually even gets the finish. Which I don't think was going to make too much of a difference at that point. The rotations were coming in. The time was almost gone as well. That's going to be 15 now for Team Finest as they take themselves up to map point, and that was one that Wisla really couldn't afford to let go. Now they've not even got much to actually try and fight for the overtime, needing 6 rounds in a row, and the first of those rounds is going to be by far the hardest, as you can see, with mostly pistols in play. Even they've only got the 1 AK alongside a scout then on Marcos.
Well, Wisla, after conceding what should have been a very, very easy round, they now head into one where maybe not the best of chances of winning. Goofy finds one with the AK. Opener for Wisla. Nicely done, however, more of the same please.
Yeah, well, they actually do lock the players out from the B bomb site, which is the smoke for now. Nade going in might do a bit of damage, but it's no one planting for now, so it's not going to do a ton. And actually, PA George just ends up taking Robin's head through the smoke. Says thank you, puts the bomb down, and I think they've already forced Team Finest away from trying in this round. They've got enough to get the drops in if they save on both Mar and Kreese here. Obviously, Shox needs to keep his weapon since he has no money in the bank at all. So they will at least be able to ensure the investment. But as I said, this was kind of the hardest hurdle for Wisla to overcome this very weak force buy. But again, we've been struggling to find any sort of consistency from them so far here on Inferno. So they really need to manage to turn that around now, obviously needing 6 rounds in a row, now 5. Marcos would love an upgrade. I'm sure he'll get that one off Sparrow going into the next round. He was looking for another AK or something to pick up. Unfortunately, there's none. There's none. But it's a start. We'll see whether Wisla can make this happen now or not. I'm definitely getting worried for Team Finest because it's gotten to a position where initially, obviously, this was looking like it was going to be incredibly one-sided, which would have set them up in super well going into Overpass. But now Wisla have clearly come alive. They've got a little bit more fight to show, and I think at the very least they're proving that they're not going to be an easy finish on map 3, that they'll be able to definitely make that one competitive. If not, make the comeback happen here, because it's definitely still possible.
Well, 5 more rounds until we either see an overtime or, well, anything less than 5. We see ourselves to map 3. Smoke going to be dipped in towards mid-site. It's the spirit smoke. For those maybe don't understand the strats, it's so you can rush CT and get the wrap towards Coffin, but they don't need it. Mar goes aggressive and loses his life early doors.
That's not ideal. See, it gets to a point where Team Finest, they do play a very risky style in these early moments as well, and eventually it can get a little bit more predictable, and it gets into these spots also where you're feeling a little bit more maybe doubtful about it because you've lost a few rounds. Things have not always worked out for you at this stage. You're getting a little bit closer in general on the score as well. So perhaps that doubt in your mind makes that aggressive play not go quite as well. Robin, though, good catch on that player on long, but they are still going to be wrapped on. You can see Sparrow moving around, catching a very quick kill on towards the bomb site on Kreese, and leaving Shocks completely overwhelmed, as you'd even seen a player take up the graveyard to try and come in from above. So there wouldn't have been a lot that he could get away with right there, and Arquez just doesn't even get time to leave the B bomb site. He's going to sit in place and save this op over. But it's Wisla up to 11, and now the comeback is looking like a reality.
More than just, isn't it? It's like being animated into life as we watch on through. An 11th on the board here for Wisla. And I don't want to jinx anything here, Dean. I'm not the kind of guy to want to curse a team. But if we're going to talk about this from a financial standpoint, Finest have to eke up in the next because 3 players realistically can't buy. In fact, probably 4 players can't buy. That should be 12 on the board for Wisla. Winning that full buy gives them 14-15. It's a lot closer than you'd expect.
Yeah, the gap's definitely starting to deplete for Team Finest, and I think they realize that, calling in a bit of a pause now. The problem is they won't be getting the buy immediately, so most of their focus is likely on this next round instead. And getting only 2,400 on the loss bonus as well means if they're going to get the op in, it'll have to be dropped over to an Arquez then in the following round, so him saving that even could be another good option if they manage to somehow take it through this round again. We're definitely seeing Wisla come alive, in particular a couple of players, being PHR and Goofy, who looked pretty good on Ancient, but also being giant big time by Yedgar this time around.
Yeah, unreal. Into the thick of things. God, the music. How intense. However, we head into sort of the late parts of this game here, Dean. And you know, at the start of this matchup, we were like, yeah, Finest don't really have much of a chance. Like, maybe we see Wisla just absolutely take this all on the TV.
Some
Let's turn it off, though.
Hardware
yeah. Yeah, exactly, man. Got that one at home.
I think somewhere up in the attic, I probably have an old PC that looks along those lines.
The box at the back, isn't it? It's not just the screen. It's like, yeah.
That one there's for playing 1.6, not CSGO, unfortunately.
Yeah.
More than likely. Yeah, we're having a bit of a longer pause, so we've got to go out of our way and just presume that it's a technical at this point.
Yeah.
I believe we had that confirmed as well. Indeed, we did. So, a little bit unfortunate. Maybe even a bit fortunate, rather. They could definitely do with the chat on this side of Team Finest, and I think Wisla are... I don't know, they could be happy that they're getting the opportunity to talk, but also they were finally starting to find momentum, and now they're just sitting around for a few minutes, which isn't really ideal.
So as far as I know, just a tech should be gone in just a little bit. I'm not too sure, but should be.
Yeah, you should be right. We were informed. There's just a little bit of GoTV delay that has to catch up, and yeah, it actually gets removed there just as I take over. So we are going to be getting back into the action. Good timing indeed. But, I mean, it's going to be a bit of a slower one anyway, Retro. There's not a lot there for Team Finest to work with. They have the saved up again, as I was mentioning, but that could be worth trying to prioritize, potentially even bringing that into the next round again. Try and at least get something, I suppose, early on in the round, see if you can get an early advantage that'll let those pistols have more opportunity as well. But I don't think you're going to... Okay, I guess that was probably the end of that one then. Going the way of the boys 16-11 and sending us over to a map number 3, it must have been. They managed to win out that was an incredibly weak buy, I've got to say. I'm a little bit disappointed by Wisla if they managed to let that one go in that fashion, unfortunately. But overall, Wisla took a while to get going, and when they did, it was the consistency that they just really struggled to find. If they look like that on Overpass, then I definitely think there's a chance for Finest to steal this one away. But with that, guys, we are first going to have to send it over to a little bit of a break. When we come back, we'll go ahead and break things down a little bit more for you.